Morning, guys. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we are going to be talking about the French and Indian War. I'm going to take you through the assignment so that way you have my voice as a guide. And if at any time you need to, you can pause the video or rewind or anything like that. Stop and ask questions, etc. So to start with, you should have three documents. You should have this map right here. You should also have this proclamation, and on the opposite side of this proclamation will be this blank letter. Okay, so those are the three documents that you need today. We're going to go ahead and start with the map that I just showed you right here. Okay, so here we see the original 13 colonies, right, in this darker shaded gray. Well, remember how when we talked about the middle colonies, we said that places like New York and Philadelphia were getting really, really packed with people. Diversity was going up, population was going up, and people wanted to start moving west. Okay, take a look at this compass rose. Here's your west. They wanted to move west, and in their way geographically here were the Appalachian Mountains, but that wasn't going to stop them. They wanted to keep on moving this way. And it just so happened that here on the other side of the Appalachian Mountains was an area that became known later on as the Ohio River Valley, okay? Now, the Ohio River Valley was really, really desirable because, as you can see, there's a lot of water systems here. Here you have a river, here you have the Great Lakes, and it's fresh water. So that's extra special, okay? Because fresh water can be used by humans for several things, not only just for consumption, but also you can do fishing there. You can use it for irrigation, right? So this area right here is going to be super, super fertile. And by fertile, I mean that people are going to be able to grow a lot of crops here. And like we've talked about before, crops are important for two reasons. Number one, for survival. And number two, if you want to use commercial farming, you can really make a profit off those cash crops. Okay. So what I want for you to do is on this map right here in this area, I want for you to label this area Ohio, Ohio, River, River, Valley. Valley. So this is the Ohio River Valley, okay? Now, the only problem that the English had were that there were people already living here. One of them is listed right here, the Native Americans, okay? So Native Americans, you'll see them referred to as Indians in this particular case. So you have Indians living here, and think about the war that we just said we were going to talk about. We said we were going to talk about the French and Indian War. So not only were Indians living here, but the French were living here too with them. Okay, now the Indians and the French had actually become really, really good friends. As a matter of fact, they were assimilating. The word is assimilate, Assimilate. I want for you to write that down somewhere over here on the left-hand side. Assimilate means to blend cultures, to start to fit in with each other. And that's what they were doing. So the bond between the French and the Native American or the Indian people living here was really, really strong. But remember, we still have the English over here that want to move in. So this is the first time that we see a young military officer by the name of George Washington. Enter George Washington to U.S. history. So George Washington comes over to the Ohio River Valley, and he tells the French that are living here, that are building all kinds of forts and stuff, he says, okay, I'm going to ask you politely. Our government is asking you to leave this area now. And the French are like, yeah, no, we're not leaving. So George Washington's like, okay, well, I'm just letting you know that the next time you see me, it'll be with a military that's ready to go and ready to fight. So the French decide not to leave, the English want to move in, and that starts the French and Indian War. Okay, so they fight and they fight and they fight and they fight. Now, during this time, England is fighting wars all over the place, and they're fighting wars for 7 years, okay? So they're fighting wars for 7 years. Down here at the bottom, I want for you to write French and Indian War, and then I want you to put AKA 7 Years' War, because you'll also hear it referred to as the 7 Years' War. So go ahead and write French and Indian War, aka 7 Years' War. Okay, so the war fight, they go on, fight, and guess who wins? Yep, it's the English. Boom, we win. So now we have taken control of all of this territory here. Okay, this now belongs to all of us, even all the way down to Florida, all this area here. Great. So now it belongs to the English. We've won the French and Indian War. So take a look at what happens next. King George III, who is the King of England during this time, decides to send the colonists a letter. So let's go ahead and pull out that letter. You should have that letter here in front of you. It says a proclamation from King George III. So right here next to proclamation, right on top, I want for you to go ahead and write the word statement, because a proclamation is like a big fancy statement from King George III. Next to King George III, I want for you to write here King of England. In the year of our Lord, 1763. Go ahead and circle the year 1763. That's a really important year. So we're going to read a statement from King George III in the year of our Lord, 1763. Here it goes. Attention, English subjects living in our colonies. Thank you for all of your hard fighting for England so that we could conquer the lands west of the Appalachian Mountains. That's another really important geographic feature you're going to need to remember. Conquered the lands west of the Appalachian Mountains. We defeated the French and Indian forces that fought against us, and England now owns the Ohio River Valley. Yay! As your king, I am now putting the following rules into place for the colonies. Here are King George III's 2 rules. Rule number 1, even though the areas west of the Appalachian Mountains were won from the French, I am restricting colonists from settling in the Ohio River Valley area due to possible future conflicts with hostile natives. What? Number 2, any colonists already living in the Appalachian Mountain areas must abandon their homes and move back to the original 13 colonies area. So King George has basically said, I am restricting colonists from settling in the Ohio Valley area. And the colonists are like, what? We just fought a war to win that. Why are you doing this? And King George says, well, the reason that I'm doing this is due to possible future conflicts with hostile Native Americans. Now, you have to realize this. War is expensive. Now, think about how long England was fighting a war, not just here in the Ohio River Valley area, but basically they had doubled the debt of their country, okay? They had spent a lot of money. And King George knew, he understood that the natives were not just going to let them come in here without a fight. Okay, so he didn't want the colonists to come in here and then start a very expensive fight with the Native Americans or the Indians. Okay, so that's why he said, not only can you not go over there now, but any of you that are already living there, if you're already living in that area, you need to abandon your home and move back. Okay, so I want you to think really quick. How do you think that would make the colonists feel? Yeah, I know, right? So the colonists had their relatives fighting, their fathers, their brothers, their uncles, their cousins, their sons, their nephews. Everybody had gone to go fight in the French and Indian War to be able to win this land for the colonists. And now King George is saying, you cannot go past this line right here. Okay, so the next thing I want for you to do is take a highlighter, like it says right here, highlight on the map in the area in the text the lands in which the proclamation of 1763 said colonists could not settle. But what I want for you to do is take a highlighter and just highlight this line right here. This is the proclamation line of 1763. See, it says so right here, right in the legend. This is where the colonists were stopped. They could not go past this. All right. Now, what I'm also going to want for you to do after you finish highlighting that is answer number 10. Why did the proclamation of 1763, and alarm, by alarm I mean like upset or surprise or catch off guard, however you want to put it. Why did the proclamation of 1763 basically freak out the colonists? You're going to go ahead and respond to that right here. Okay. Now, once you've done all that, what you're going to do is you are going to go ahead and go to the opposite side of your page. Okay. And what I'm going to want for you to do with the date is you're going to put today's date, which would be October 13th, but I want you to put the year of the proclamation. Okay, and now you are responding in a letter to the person who wrote the proclamation of 1763. So, dear, and then you're going to write in who wrote the proclamation of 1763. Thank you for your letter, the blank of blank. What was the name of the letter that was sent? Since the French and blank war, the 13 colonies have united thanks to Benjamin. And right here, just go ahead and put Franklin, and we'll discuss this later. We have some grievances. Ooh, that's a big and fancy new word. Grievances. Now, what does the word grievances mean? It means complaints. So I'm going to want for you to go ahead and write complaints on top of the word grievances. All right, so we have some grievances that we would like to discuss regarding your proclamation of blank. Here are 3 issues that we have. So this is where you and a partner are going to work together. I want for you to think of 3 things that the colonists might have been really upset about, or 3 points that they would want to make to the king. Okay, what are 3 things that they would say to him? You're going to write first an annotation, the main idea of what you're going to say here, here, and here. So I want to see your ideas right here, right here, right here. And once you have your 3 ideas, you're going to go ahead and structure them into sentences here, like if you're writing a letter to the king. Okay, now they don't have to be 3 complaints. If you check out the DOK question for today, it says, what alternatives to the proclamation of 1763 did King George have? So you can have like complaint, complaint, and an alternative if you'd like. Or you can have 3 alternatives. You can say, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? But basically, I want 3 responses to the king, okay? Once you've come up with your replies and written them into correct and formal sentences, then down here at the bottom where it says, your loyal subject, you're going to go ahead and sign your name in cursive, okay? And once you've done that, that's the end of the activity. If you have any questions, I will see you when I get back. This is going to go glued on page 20. If you need to see the teacher copy of the ISN, I have it on my desk. Have a great day.